that valley we were talking about before, heading towards the next peak. So can they do it before it hits midnight?
I think this might be pull 399. Production, is this accurate? Is the like when we see number of pulls in the bottom of our screen? So this is our current pull is 399. So they could still kill it this pull and be sub 400, which that would make them the only guild in the world to accomplish that feat so far. Would be very impressive. Something that they are, again, absolutely not thinking about at all right now.
Yeah, certainly not. Certainly not a guild like yours that is, again, significantly worse. And I'm sure they'll get like sub 200 pulls.
Yeah, if it gets nerfed enough, we could do this thing in 30 or 40. That's as many as it took us on Heroic, so, could be on Mythic too. All right, the dodging around, coming around. They group back up under boss. Dodges again.
Scary little beam kind of cutting through there, but they had a really safe spot there. So we don't always see that during this first phase. Sometimes one will kind of go directly through the root, but they have their defensives and freedoms and everything set up just the way they want. And again, very scarily, none of them running the cheat death trinket anymore that they were doing to learn these phases. Like, that's why even coming onto the couch today, watching this, I'm like, I don't even know how a lot of them can survive this so well, but they just have all removed that trinkets, and now it's just down to their sheer power of will and skill that they've just picked up over these 398 pulls.
Yeah, they now mount up and begin the first intermission once again. Tindral's health is looking fine. Not an important factor on this fight. There are some fights where they're wiping at a low percent and you're just waiting for them to have the combination of a good pull with good damage, right? Like good mechanics plus good damage. This fight is heavily indexed towards the mechanics. The damage, obviously, like if you're 3% behind or something like that, you're going to be looking at it, you're going to be like, this is bad. But really, if you're a percent ahead or a percent behind or whatever your usual number, it's fine. It doesn't matter. You can kill the boss on pretty much the same pull regardless, as long as you can execute all 4 of those dragon riding sections in the last phase, all the seeds, all that nonsense that you have to do there.
Yeah, absolutely. But now they're just getting through this little breather room. I really do believe the Supernova, the most scary and badass named ability, is a little bit of a breather for them. But now they're just going to get into position for these Phase 2 mechanics, which, again, they got through last pull perfectly. No deaths. Couple little scary areas of people getting low, but you should expect that given how this fight works, especially with the Dispel dot ticking so harshly and all the raid-wide damage going out.
Yeah, it's a very scary part of a very scary fight. All 7 minutes of this fight are nasty ones, except for the 1 minute of dragon riding in the middle. But here comes the next dispels. These are being done in a very coordinated fashion at pretty specific locations. Gingy off to the side there, going to be the third dispel, and it's going to be a hunter with a life cocoon, and looks like some more as well. Going to be getting dispelled over in the side as the next set of soaks now coming out. Little ping lands on one, but it's okay. They got all of them.
Yeah, see, right there is what we're talking about, where since they're all able to get into that seed position ahead of time, it's really helpful to mark who is getting what. And just like we saw in the last Phase 3, they didn't have that kind of time to get into that position and ultimately accidentally spawning one of the trees. They have a bit of an easier time doing that in the second phase. 1, just due to practice, and 2, some of the overlaps aren't quite as scary. But, just again, practice. And now we'll see if they can just get through these. There's one more right there.
Wow.
That was really
just
scary.
In time. But that last seed has been taken care of, and they will be entering now the intermission. Boss a little bit higher than it has been before, but again, as I've been saying, doesn't matter. I keep looking at that percent because, even here, 46.6, that is perfectly fine. Perfectly good.
Yeah, it all matters just getting past. It's like that 4th dragon riding phase where there's a few more percentage. Instead of, taking down 3%, taking down 4%, there's not really too much of a difference for them there. Of course, that doesn't mean they do not want to slack on any of their damage just in case. But it is something that they want to, keep in mind and squeeze out as much as they can. And here starts the second Supernova, once again giving them that little bit of a breather. Not so much the healers. They aren't allowed to breathe during these pulls. But then they're going to start to get into position as the first solar flares come out, and then the roots and seeds. So those are the next things they're going to have to take care of. But unfortunately, after this overlap, the next ones are significantly harder and more technical to deal with.
Yeah, here comes a mass barrier from Gingy. Actually, very cool mage cooldown here on this sort of fight, because it really helps as you're stacking up for those fire vines for not just you, but the other players that are stacking with a bunch of players. And now we are going to have this first set of seeds of P3. This one they've gotten pretty reliable, except for that one time where you said they would never mess it up where they did.
Yeah, correct. I did say they would never mess it up, but now we're seeing that come true this poll, as they were able to clear that pretty easily. It almost looked like the point of view we were watching, they ran over 2, but it is completely fine. Now they just got to heal through this crazy raid damage. Unfortunately, Velo went down there, but they used a battle res on him, and they still have a spare one. And again, this is just showing where the reses can save the wipes. Just because someone dies does not mean it's instantly a wipe. It can be depending on when they die, but luckily that was during a little bit of a safe period. They successfully cleared that next set of seeds.
Look at Kush there, the bottom left. He was vibing hard. Very happy about how well those seeds were done, even given the fact that he didn't soak any himself. So very happy with how his team has performed there. This set of dispels now, we're going to have somebody run over into that little pocket and get dispelled there. And then everybody else gatewaying away from these fire beams. And that last dispel will soon be followed by them grouping up once more for the next nasty Roots into Seeds combo.
Yeah, those dispels are really scary. I mean, you could see how low some of the players were sitting, but unfortunately, the healers cannot wait to just send it. They can maybe have a couple milliseconds, but that's about it. Almost looked like he touched a beam there. Ooh.
Looked a little scary, but it does look like they've all managed to land. Will they get that last seed? Looks like they will. Now we have a next set of dispels happening.
Every time you see a little bit of a fire nova, I almost think it's a tree, but sometimes it's just people dropping off their dispels, so every time it's like...
The just general graphics on this fight during the seeds are so scary as well, because the whole platform just gets inflamed. But they are going to be inside a barrier now during this next set of Roots, dodging away from this next set of fire beams as well. These are the nasty beams because these persist for the Dragon Riders here. So the Dragon Riders have to be perfect. They have to be flawless. As Clix is going to be one of those players mounting up, looking at the ground so that he can see where those beams are and where they're moving. Grabs his bomb, and now he needs to land on as many of those people as possible to help break out those roots. And now they just have to do these. You can see
one in the back.
One in the back.
Oh,
40
they got
pings,
it.
but they landed those pings. 4% non-Tindral. Now they just have to not die early with these dispels.
Yeah,
if
don't
they
let
can
anybody
avoid
die.
dying early with these dispels, if they can soak all these mushrooms, that damage on the raid from the Falling Star is phenomenally high. One death is going to come out here. It's Gingy. 2 more deaths now. 17 players live. The boss sub 1% health. Will they be able to get this down? Ignoring